Hello students, welcome to the lecture on organizational structure, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives: discuss process and structure of organization, define organizational design and structure, understand formal and informal organization, describe organization on chart and manual, explain types of organization structure. Let's start with the concept of organizational structure. Creating or enhancing the structure of an organization defines manager's organizational design task. Organizational design is one of the three tasks that fall into the organizing function in the planning, organizing, leading, controlling (POLC) framework. As much as individual and team level factors influence work attitudes and behaviors, the organization structure can be an even more powerful influence over employee actions. Organizational structure refers to how individual and team work within an organization are coordinated. To achieve organizational goals and objectives, individuals' work needs to be coordinated and managed. Structure is a valuable tool in achieving coordination as it specifies reporting relationships, who reports to whom, delineates formal communication channels, and describes how separate actions of individuals are linked together. Building blocks of structure. What exactly do we mean by organizational structure? Which elements of a company's structure makes a difference in how we behave and how work is coordinated? We will review 4 aspects of structure that have been frequently studied: centralization, formalization, hierarchical levels, and departmentalization. We view these elements as the building blocks or elements making up a company's structure. Centralization. Centralization is the degree to which decision-making authority is concentrated at higher levels in an organization.
Every workplace is different. Everyone has stories about good and bad coworkers, as well as workplace structure that either made those jobs amazing,
yay,
or unbearable.
Aww.
Studying how individuals and groups behave in various organizations will help develop your skills to take on leadership roles. How employees communicate, how an organization is structured, and how problems are addressed are just some of the factors of organizational behavior. A good manager who is familiar with these behaviors can influence individuals and groups to create effective organizations.
Let us now discuss the process and structure of organization. Organizing, like planning, must be a carefully worked out and applied process. This process involves determining what work is needed to accomplish the goal, assigning those tasks to individuals, and arranging those individuals in a decision-making framework. Organizational structure. The end result of the organizing process is an organization, a whole consisting of unified parts acting in harmony to execute tasks to achieve goals both effectively and efficiently. In general, the organizational process consists of 3 steps: review plans and objectives. Objectives are the specific activities that must be completed to achieve goals. Determine the work activities necessary to accomplish objectives. Although this task may seem overwhelming to some managers, it does not need to be. Managers simply list and analyze all the tasks that need to be accomplished in order to reach organizational goals. Classify and group the necessary work activities into manageable units. A manager can group activities based on 4 models of departmentalization: functional, geographical, product, and customer. Organization structure. Structure refers to the arrangement of parts and interrelationships among activities and people. The structure of an organization mainly involves the following: the number of departments, sections, and positions in which an organization has been divided, the levels of management, the relationships among different parts and levels, principles of organization. The principles of organization should guide managers in this process: unity of command and direction. Unity of command means that each employee should report to only one supervisor. Unity of direction means that all tasks and activities should be directed towards the same mission and goals. Chain of command. Chain of command states that a clear, unbroken chain of command should link every employee with someone at a higher level. all the way to the top of the organization. Coordination. Coordination means that all departments, sections should work together to accomplish the strategic, tactical and operational goals of the organization. Responsibility, authority and accountability. Responsibility is the obligation to achieve goals by performing required activities. Authority is the right to make decisions, issue orders and use resources. Accountability is the evaluation of how well individuals meet their responsibility. Managers can delegate responsibility and authority, but never their accountability. Advantages and disadvantages of organization structure. The decision on organizational structure should only be made once the advantages and the disadvantages of each have been reviewed. Consultation with an accountant and attorney will also be helpful in getting business off on the right foot. Sole proprietorships. As a sole proprietorship, owner of the company is controlled by one person. Some of the advantages of a sole proprietorship are ease of organization, complete control of income and decisions, taxes are filed on the owner's personal tax return, and the business can be shut down easily by the owner. Some of the disadvantages of sole proprietorships are limited funds to expand and difficulty attracting and retaining top talent.
I think about a company's culture the way I think about a person's personality. A person's personality is complex, it has many dimensions, and that may have many different elements to it. For a long time, we didn't know that we should be paying attention to it.
We define culture largely as how we do things. Culture is a really important part of them, bringing in new ways of thinking, new beliefs that consistency and integration really matter, in addition to creativity and adaptability in their market, which has been kind of their hallmark, their trait. Since culture is really like the air we breathe, we sometimes don't even notice what it is. Because oftentimes we can see a wide variety of problems resulting out of a culture that's ambiguous or not clear or in conflict.
We woke up one day fearing that, hey, if we don't actually try to define this, it's going to get out of control and we're going to end up with a culture that we don't want or like.
There comes a point in any work we do with a company around their culture where there has to be a conversation about what's true. Well, we use several tools which allows us to work with the client to identify the elements of the culture that they can leverage for improved performance.
We have been kind of guided through a personal and corporate transformation to move from an immature company completely driven by the whims of the founders to a professional organization that is scalable. Momentum has had a really big effect on who we are, who TechSoft is now, and who we're becoming. All of those things ultimately boil down to business results, revenue growth, profit margin, customer satisfaction, and we're seeing all of those things heading in a positive direction over the last couple of years.
Partnerships. In a partnership, there are two or more owners of the business. With multiple people, some of the obvious advantages are increased access to funds and support with the daily operations of the business. Now moving on to the next topic, we will study the organizational design and structure. Organizational structure refers to the way tasks are divided up, how the work flows, how this flow is coordinated, and the forces and mechanisms that allow this coordination to occur. Significance of organizational structure. Properly designed organization can help improve teamwork and productivity by providing a framework within which the people can work together most effectively. Organizational structure determines the location of decision making in the organization. Principles of organization structure. Modern organizational structures have evolved from several organizational theories which have identified certain principles as basic to any organization structure. Line and staff relationships. Line authority refers to the scalar change or to the superior-subordinate linkages that extend throughout the hierarchy. Line employees are responsible for achieving the basic or strategic objectives of the organization, while staff plays a supporting role to line employees and provides services. Departmentalization. Departmentalization is the process of horizontal clustering of different types of functions and activities on any one levels of the hierarchy. Departmentalization is conventionally based on purpose, product, process, function, personal things, and place. Division of labor. Subdivision of work into separate jobs assigned to different people. potentially increases work efficiency. It's necessary as company grows and work becomes more complex.
What is division of labour? Division of labour is where the separate tasks of a process are divided amongst cooperative specialist workers. For example, in the kitchen, Johnny does the washing of the dishes because he's best at that, and Josie does the drying of the dishes because that's her specialty. By working together, they are able to do the dishes faster and more efficiently. So why do we have division of labour? Well, we can look at a real-life workplace to explain why. In an advertising firm, groups of people are split up into several sections. The people in the sections then carry out specific tasks. When an external client first approaches the firm, they are directed to the account service section. Account service writes a descriptive brief tailored to the client's needs and budget. Once the brief is done up, it is passed over to the creative side. The creative department then create what the client has asked for by following the specifications on the brief. For example, they may want a TV ad, a radio ad, or a new logo. If there are graphics involved, the product is then passed over to the graphical team. So once everything is almost complete, the product is then passed over to the print team, who analyse the product and ensure there are no potential problems and there are no mistakes, ensuring that all aspects of the initial brief are met. So how is this division of labour? Well, instead of one person doing every process of creating the client's product, the processes are divided up. Each person does what they are best at. For example, someone who is part of the account service could not do what someone in the creative department does, and vice versa. This is because it is not what they are trained in, and it isn't their specialty. By dividing up the jobs within the advertising firm, they are able to be most efficient and complete products for clients faster. By having workers carry out specific functions, these workers are able to gain expertise in their field and over time become better and better. So what's bad about division of labour? Well, the most prominent disadvantage of this system is that there is an increase in the interdependence in the production process. In the advertising firm, the creative department relies heavily on the account service team. If the brief is missing important information and details, then the creative department will essentially create a product which is not tailored to the client's wants and needs. This is called a flow-on effect, where one worker in the production process makes a mistake and this therefore affects all the following stages in the production process. Workers can also become bored because they are doing exactly the same task over and over again. This can affect companies as workers may become unmotivated, therefore threatening the qualities of their products. Division of labour also makes it difficult for workers to transfer jobs, as they lack skills in other areas. This is because they are so focused on carrying out only one function in the production process. Overall, division of labour allows a firm to operate at its most effective and efficient level, whilst creating products of high quality. Although there are several disadvantages to division of labour, these are outweighed by the advantages. In a big production firm, the flaws of division of labour have minimal impact on the overall production and is proven to be a far better system.
Contingency of organizational design. Different organization structures have different benefits in different situations. What matters is the organization design is aligned with the business strategy and the market environment in which the business operates. Some of the many things that can consider when thinking about the structure of an organization. These are strategy. The organization design must support strategy. If organization intends to be innovative, then a hierarchical structure will not work. Environment. If the market environment work in customers, suppliers, regulators, etc. is unpredictable or volatile, then the organization needs to be flexible enough to react to this. Controls. What level of control is right in business? Some activities need special controls, such as patient services in hospitals, money handling in banks, and maintenance in air transport, whilst others are more efficient when there is a high degree of flexibility. Incentives. Incentives and rewards must be aligned with the business strategy and purpose. Let's know the meaning of formal and informal organization. Formal organization lays down authority, responsibility, and work relationships. These are not the only relationships in the organization. When people work together, they develop certain social and informal relationships. These social and informal relationships constitute the informal organization. Informal organization comes into being out of the desire of people to associate with one another. People associate in groups to gossip, to exchange information and views, to share difficulties and happiness. informal organization consists of groups of people who may work in the same department or in different departments of the organization. These informal groups are formed on the basis of emotional attachment, and the purpose is to satisfy those needs which cannot be satisfied by formal organization. The formal organization keeps its members informed of all matters affecting their job and positions in the organization. The members of informal organization informally elect someone as their leader and provide him the needed support. The informal leader does not have any formal authority. His authority depends upon the combined support of group members. Organizing becomes easy if managers are able to identify the leaders of informal groups and gain their cooperation for the betterment of the formal organization. We have just now studied about formal and informal organizations. Functions of informal organization. They perpetuate the cultural and social values that the group holds dear. They provide social status and satisfaction that may not be obtained from the formal organization. They promote communication among members. They provide social control by influencing and regulating behavior inside and outside the group. Disadvantages of informal groups: resistance to change, role conflict, rumor, conformity. Benefits to the formal organization: they blend with formal system, lighten management workload, fill gaps in management abilities, act as a safety value. Nature of informal and formal organization. The nature of the informal organization becomes more distinct when its key characteristics are juxtaposed with those of the formal organization. Formal rules are often adapted to subjective interests, social structures within an enterprise, and the personal goals, desires, sympathies, and behaviors of the individual workers, so that the practical everyday life of an organization becomes informal. Formal organizations are typically understood to be systems of coordinated and controlled activities that arise when work is embedded in complex networks of technical relations and boundary-spanning exchanges. But in modern societies, formal organizational structures arise in highly institutional contexts. Key characteristics of the informal organization: evolving constantly, grassroots, dynamic and responsive, excellent at motivation, requires insider knowledge to be seen, treats people as individuals. Key characteristics of the formal organization: enduring unless deliberately altered, top-down, static, excellent at alignment. Organization chart and manual. Organization structure of a company can be shown in a chart. Such chart indicates how different departments are interlinked on the basis of authority and responsibility. It is a simple diagrammatic method of describing an organization structure. It indicates how the departments are linked together on the basis of authority and responsibility. Such organization chart provides information of the organization structure at a glance. An organization chart shows that has the authority over whom, but does not state that extent of authority or the duties each person in the organization is expected to perform. In order to supplement the information of this chart, an organization may prepare a manual or management guide. Meaning of organizational manual. A manual can be a useful instrument of management which more than justifies the amount of work and money involved in its compilation. Where a good manual is in use, each person can determine the responsibilities of his job and its proper relationship with other jobs in the organization. Jurisdictional conflicts and overlapping can be avoided. A manual provides quick settlement of all misunderstandings. It relieves the manager from the both elation of repeating the same information time and again. It provides uniformity and consistency in the procedures and practices. If a good organization manual is in use, each personnel in the organization can know the responsibilities of his job and his relationship with other jobs in the organization. Good organization manual has the following contents: nature of the enterprise, objectives of the enterprise, policies of the management, job descriptions, duties and responsibilities of various personnel, instructions relating to the performance of standard as well as non-standard jobs. Types of organization structure. Organization structure is defined as the logical arrangement of tasks and the network of relationships and roles among the various positions established to carry out the activities necessary to achieve the predetermined objectives of business. Internal organization structure constitutes the arteries and veins through which the blood of work flows into the body of organization. Internal organization structures can be broadly classified into the following types or forms: line organization structure, functional organization structure, line and staff organization structure, product organization structure. Line organization structure. Line organization, also called military or scalar organization, is the oldest and the simplest form of internal organization structure. It was first developed by the Roman army and later adopted by armies all over the world. Factory owners also use line organization structure in its purest form in the 19th century in England. In the line organization, the line of authority moves directly from the top level to the lowest level in a step-by-step manner. It is straight and vertical. The top-level management takes all major decisions and issues directions for actual execution. The general manager, for example, issues orders to various departmental managers. Thereafter, the departmental manager issues instructions to work manager. The work managers will then issue instructions to foremen. In this manner, the orders and instructions will be issued to the workers working at the lowest level. Thus, authority moves downward and also step by step. The responsibility, on the other hand, moves in the upward direction. Functional organization structure. F. W. Taylor, founder of scientific management, conceived the functional organization structure. According to him, it is unscientific to overload a foreman with the entire responsibility of running a department. He introduced a system of functional foremanship in his organization. In his functional foremanship, there will be 8 specialists foremen who will be required to guide, direct, and control the work. Workers at the plant level will have to follow the instructions of all these 8 specialists called bosses. In the functional organization structure, there will be separation of planning of work and execution of the plan prepared. The basis of division is the function, and naturally the organization structure created will be called functional organization. In the functional foremanship, there will be 8 specialists or functional heads called bosses. Out of 8 bosses, 4 bosses will be at the planning level and the remaining 4 will be at the shop floor level. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Structure is a valuable tool in achieving coordination as it specifies reporting relationships, who reports to whom, delineates formal communication channels, and describes how separate actions of individuals are linked together. A hierarchical organization is an organizational structure where every entity in the organization except one is subordinate to a single other entity. A limited liability company, a LLC, acts to provide the protection features of organizing as a cooperation, such as limited liability and the adaptability of partnerships. Informal organization consists of groups of people who may work in the same department or in different departments of the organization. A manual can be a useful instrument of management which more than justifies the amount of work and money involved in its compilation. The matrix organization is different from the functional organization. In the functional organization, the project manager is given complete responsibility for the project as well as the resources needed for its completion.